So if you've made it this far, congratulations, you've made it through the first couple of videos for the class. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the pacing guide and how do you know when you're on pace versus behind pace. So when I set up the class, I set it up following the chapters in the textbook with an introductory chapter to go over procedures. I called that introductory chapter, Chapter 0. In here, there were a lot of procedures that I needed to go over about things that we use in class. And while most of these, if we were face-to-face, would only take a handful of minutes, I felt that watching all these videos one after another would actually get kind of dull and boring. So I decided to only work my way through the ones that you really had to start out with and then pause it and start doing some content in Chapter 1, which means that you weren't going to go straight through the alphabet with the videos, but you're going to take like a pause in these introductory videos, do some stuff in Chapter 1, and then come back when you need it. So what did that look like? So you received this checklist that has your Chapter 0 introduction, and this was why I indicated start here, so you would know this is where you're starting. You watched your videos, you turn in your assignments, A, B, C, we're on D right now with this video, E and F, and then afterwards I wrote, these videos below will be watched later, and now you're going to start working on Chapter 1. And then you start over here on Chapter 1, and I started numbering the videos at this point, so that would be clear and different from the introductory ones. And by the time you get to this lesson 4 or section 4, you are going, actually section 2, sorry, you're going to do a formative assessment at this point. So I decided at that point in time I needed to have you look at what would happen if you took the assessment and didn't do very well on it and needed to retake it. So before you take this assessment, you're going to actually watch the video G, and then you can take the assessment. Then you're going to continue your way through Chapter 1 until we get to the very end, and then you're going to end up watching H and I. So I hope that makes sense as to why I did it that way. I also felt that if you watched the information on the assessments well before you were going to take the assessment, you might have to go back and watch it again anyways. So I developed this pacing guide, and I'm using this, I'm just copying it from an Excel spreadsheet that I'm using to pay attention to what you're working on, who's on pace, how people are doing, looking and assessing the due dates and how much time some of the things are taking. So I'm copying and pasting this from an Excel sheet that I'm using, which is kind of why it's colored this way, which we'll see later on, and we'll kind of update that as this semester goes on. So this is a Word document right now, and I copy and paste this information from this table into it. And you can see there's a due date, which is what I anticipate is the day you should have that work completed, and how many points it is worth. So in general, all the videos are going to be worth 10 points, and any paperwork, homework, assignment, sheet that you're taking a picture of or you're filling out and turning it in is going to be worth between 5 and 10 points depending on the length of it is, the complexity it is. So some of these will have different point values, but this in general gives you the estimated point values. Chapter 1 test, which is all the way down here at the bottom, I don't have a point value because I haven't created that test, and I don't know how many points it's going to be at this point in time. So I have this so that it was updated on August 13th, and as I need to periodically update it, I might have to shift some due dates. I'll end up adding stuff as we get ready to go into Chapter 2. I will update this document and set it up so that Google Classroom will notify you when I do updates to it. And you'll also always be able to check the version up at the top and see if I've made any changes. So for your pacing guide, this is what you're going to utilize to help you identify what you should do next. In addition to the fact that at the beginning of the day in the class, I will always have the information up there for each day, but you can always go to the pacing guide and say you're ahead of pace and you want to know what comes next, you can always come here and take a look.